How's it going, everyone? It's been a very long time since I've made a video, and I definitely apologize for that. I definitely did not have this intention, and I want to make that clear. My plan was not really to sort of just like take a YouTube hiatus again and run off and not really make videos. So first and foremost, I basically just want to apologize for not having uploaded and sort of being MIA for a little bit. But as you can probably tell from this video title, I've ultimately left Amazon. And so I want to tell you guys a little bit about that in the video today. All right, so before we actually talk about me leaving Amazon, I first want to tell you guys a little bit about where I've been and the things that have sort of been going on with me and have led me to not uploading for basically 3 months now. And so to sort of just recap, back in November of 2020, I actually accepted a job at Amazon and I started working there as a software development engineer. Fast forward a little bit later, obviously I was getting ramped up with my job and I was learning all about their tech stack and how Amazon works as a company and doing all my onboarding, my trainings, et cetera, that you do at these large companies. I was definitely busy, and I was definitely a good busy, and I was learning a lot, and I really enjoyed what I was doing. But ultimately, some stuff in my personal life started to happen that I kind of needed to address and I needed to take care of. And they weren't necessarily good things, sadly. And so for me, I think I have trouble sometimes drawing a line between what I want to share on YouTube and what I should share, and then things that I shouldn't. And I feel like this is hard for me, especially because I like to think that when you look back at the videos that I've made on YouTube, I actually try and give you guys a lot of insight as to what's going on in my life and the things that are occurring and the things that I'm doing. And I think that the beauty of that and the good thing about that is it's very relatable and it's very raw. I think I try and share the things that are good and bad, whether it's getting jobs or getting rejected from jobs and things that are just going on in my life ultimately. And so for me, I went through this weird period where, these several things happened. And then I was really, honestly, like internally struggling as to whether or not I should talk about them or whether I should, leave them out of YouTube. And so for me, there was this weird dichotomy because I wanted to share it, but at the same time, I wasn't ready to, and I didn't want to talk about it. And ultimately, it just led to procrastination where I couldn't make a decision because I didn't know if I should talk about it or I didn't know if I shouldn't talk about it. And that just ended up, extrapolating into multiple months. And here we are where I think I'm at a point where I could talk about it, but I'm just going to decide, I think, not to talk about it. So basically, these events that had happened, even though I was busy with the job, I could have made videos. But I think with those things occurring, I wanted to put some space between me and YouTube because I ultimately wasn't sure about whether or not I wanted to talk about those things. And so sort of here we are 3 months later now. But that's sort of at a high level, sort of where I've been and why I've been gone. Obviously, I was busy with my job too and onboarding. I think I had some people think that, I had very bad work-life balance at Amazon, or I was way too busy at my job now to make videos. And truth be told, it was really just more personal stuff. And I'm totally fine. I don't want anyone to worry about me. But there are just times in your life where things happen. Life's really unexpected. It's short. You got to enjoy it. And so I wanted to focus on other things that were going on in my life at that moment that I obviously had to prioritize more than YouTube. Now, with actually going back to Amazon and talking about Amazon now, there was nothing wrong at Amazon, and I want to make that very clear. And I think a lot of people have these preconceived notions about what Amazon is, what kind of beast it is, what kinds of things that people experience, and I'm not going to deny or really shed light on any of those things that people might experience. I think with a company as large as Amazon, you have over 1 million people employed, which is really insane when you think about it. And that's, 5-10 times larger than some of these other really large tech companies. But I really loved my time at Amazon, and I really loved what I did at Amazon. I had an absolutely incredible manager. She was probably the best manager I've ever had in my entire career. I worked with some really awesome teammates and engineers who were super, super smart. And I really felt like I learned a lot from them, and I really enjoyed working with them day to day. Furthermore, I feel like the cherry on top was working on a crazy, super cool project that had a lot of visibility inside of Amazon, or maybe lack thereof visibility for different reasons. I can't really go into why. But it was a really cool project, and I really enjoyed my time there. And again, I worked with some of the smartest people, and I learned so much while I was there. And I was actually on track to be promoted at Amazon too, which is sort of just an interesting tidbit of information, because I think a lot of people have this notion, or for whatever reason believe or speculate sort of like why I left or what has happened, because I haven't really talked about it. But a lot of it had to do sort of with my personal life. And so I gave that backstory because now basically the stuff that was happening at Amazon and the stuff in my personal life were sort of coming to a head. And so there were these things that happened in my personal life that I wanted to focus on, and I wanted to give, the attention to that they really deserved. And then there was this stuff in my career at Amazon. And so again, they started sort of colliding a little bit. And so it was interesting because, as you all are aware, all the stuff with COVID has been very crazy the last year and a half or so. And so as a result, everyone has been working from home. Everyone has been remote. And so I was no exception, right? In November 2020, when I started at Amazon, I was remote. And when I left Amazon, I was also remote. And so it made for a very interesting period of time in my life, I think. With COVID, I think, fingers crossed, knock on wood, starting to wind down, I think a lot of these companies are trying to get back to being in person. And so for me, I was at this crossroads. I felt like I wanted to be closer to my family because of these things that had happened in my personal life. But at the same time, I knew that Amazon and my team were located in Seattle, and they would want me to basically eventually relocate there. And I felt like I had to make this choice, or try to make this choice, between sort of pursuing something in my career and sort of living somewhere else, which I haven't really done. And, for people who've been watching my channel, they know that I've basically lived in Michigan the past year. So I joke that I've lived somewhere else now aside from New York, although that wasn't totally real life, I would argue. But nonetheless, I'd lived somewhere else. So I felt like on one hand, it'd be really good to sort of move to the headquarters, meet all my teammates in person, be there day in and day out, and actually be in the office physically, to live somewhere else, to have that life experience, to sort of be on my own, move away from my friends and family. But at the other side, right, at the other side of the coin, I was like, well, all this stuff just happened with my family, and I don't want to move away from them. I really hate that, when this stuff did happen, I was at least an hour away on a plane to get there and to be there in the event of an emergency. And I hate that. I really don't like that. And so I felt like I sort of had to come to a decision whether I wanted to eventually relocate and go to Seattle, or whether I wanted to try and move back to New York and be closer to my family. And I feel like a lot of people, what they would decide, and myself included, was okay, I want to sort of be closer to my family. And I think, especially to the point in my career that I'm at, I don't think I really have to be in person. I think if anything, COVID has showed us that we all can do this remotely. We all can figure it out. We can get our work done. We can meet the deadlines. We can have the meetings virtually. And so basically I made the decision that I wanted to try and be closer to my family back in New York. And so this led to me ultimately, on my own volition, which again, I want to mention because I think some people have some conspiracy theories and things, that I was put on a performance improvement plan, or that I was pipped, as people would say, or I was forced out of the company, which was not the case. But it led to me on my own volition looking and exploring all the different options that I had, right? So the different options I had were to effectively, once I decided I'm not going to go to Seattle, I think my options were to be remote with my team, which at the time wasn't an option, but I later learned it would be, would be to transfer to the New York office for Amazon, to leave the company without having a plan, or to find a new company to go to and then leave the company. And so I thought, and I still believe this, and I would definitely recommend this to you guys as well if you're in the same position, I think more data and more information and more options is always better, right? I don't want you to, for myself especially, I didn't want to pigeonhole myself into only having one or two different options, or I guess really one option. So I wanted to explore all the different options. So I talked and thought about transferring internally and what that might look like. I thought about the idea of just taking some time off maybe and leaving the company, and maybe doing my own thing, or maybe just taking, a little sabbatical and taking a break from work. Cause I think we work so much, and I think so many people have the notion that you always have to be working, which maybe isn't the best thing, but nonetheless, I think that's how some people think. And then the other option really was to, find a new company to go to. And so I explored all those different options. I thought about it. When I did my interviews, I ended up getting some different offers. And that ultimately led me to making one of those decisions and leaving Amazon. And my plan is to sort of let you know more about those plans shortly. But again, I wanted to sort of make this video to update you guys and let you know sort of where I've been and what's been going on. And again, apologize for this weird period of time where I've disappeared, and I think some people have speculated as to what's caused me to do that. It's been my new job. I've had no work-life balance, and that again has not been the case at all for me at Amazon. I had a really great time there. I love my manager, my team. I worked on cool stuff. I had great work-life balance. But nonetheless, people speculate on what happened. So ultimately, I decided to leave the company and pursue one of those different avenues. I will share more with you guys shortly as to what that's going to look like. I don't even know if I mentioned, but obviously I'm back in New York. As you can see, I'm not in Michigan anymore. This is not my background that I had in Michigan. So I'm now back in New York in a New York City apartment, which I'm so happy to be back in. I really miss the city. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm so grateful. And yeah, I just want to make a quick video to sort of update you guys and let you guys know where I've been, and just to express, the gratitude that I have for you guys. I feel so appreciative that I have this platform to talk to you guys on, and to have you guys following my journey, and hopefully I will let you guys know more soon as to which one of those routes I decide to explore and sort of what's next for me in my career and my journey. But again, thank you guys so much for being here, for supporting me, for watching my channel, and I'll talk to you guys all soon.